Hello, I'm Ellie. In the last few weeks, I've been exploring Fabric, generally after it's become general available, um, announced in the last Microsoft Ignite. And I've been playing a little bit to kind of understand how it works. I decided to focus on the real time analytics functionality that it comes for and take it through the processor, including a little bit of some Python machine learning intelligence into it. So I just wanted to see how it works. Uh, I've realized it's a very long story to tell, so I've cut it into, I think I'll be end up with 3 videos. So this one will be kind of an introduction to the idea. Then I'll show how I just do the basics, and then a little bit more advanced with the Python bit. Not that advanced, but just how to include Python there in the middle of the story. So let's go to the next. So in my mind, if I needed to kind of say, how do I view Fabric in the Microsoft story? Azure is an amazing platform to work in. It has that feeling of patchy, higgledy-piggledy, kind of things that are brought together. You need to know each one on its own very well, and it's got different feelings. Just think about the computes that are provisioned in Databricks and Azure Machine Learning, in Synapse. Each one has a different costing structure. Each one is configured differently, run differently, approached differently, and so forth. The Fabric brings you now a much better experience, a unified experience. I think it's a different type of user when Azure is more for the IT type of users. Although you do need also IT support for Fabric, the end user in mind here is really the citizen data scientist, the citizen analyst. So you get a unified approach that feels more tuned to the concepts that and feelings and graphical user interface that you get when you work with Power BI. So it's kind of Power BI downwards. As a Power BI user, I would like to add the intelligence. I would like to have some access to data. I would like to share it with everybody, and I want to use just things that I feel comfortable with and I know generally how it works. And somebody needs just to give me the rights, the access, and govern everything for me centrally, and I then can do a lot of things in my environment as a citizen data analyst and so forth. Another way to look at it is to get Azure to work, you need to connect a lot of stuff. And fine tuning it, especially to fit within a security environment. We've had some lovely experiences in the last few years where it takes much, much longer than one would expect to get everything to work within security policies. There's still stuff to connect within Fabric. It's not kind of, okay, there's no connectivity, but it's much more streamlined, it's much easier, it's much centralized, it's much more uniform. The word one comes to mind because it's one security, one data, one lake, one type of compute, and so forth. It's supposed to be really a frictionless environment for doing a lot of sandbox work. I think it will eventually mature also into proper DevOps. There's already things on the roadmap. At the moment, definitely it feels more like I want to develop things quite fast and provision, and I want to have my flexibility within governance, kind of have the cake and keep it whole type of thing. And it's designed that way and feels that way, and it's a really pleasant experience. So think about this story. If you are a Power BI developer, the real thing that you want is to have access to other data science work that your colleagues have done. And really what's in your mind is to provision your reports to other colleagues who will be consuming it. However, because the way Fabric is designed, where the data is governed in one place, one lake, the security governs the access to the data and to the data science in one location. Therefore, you, as the Power BI developer, the report developer, the analyst, do not need to worry about who do you give the Power BI too. Or if I'll show in a second, you embed the Power BI, let's say in a PowerPoint, and you give the PowerPoint to your manager or somebody else in a different department, that the security is already governed. So even if you have access to a particular point of data and they don't, they will not see that data, even though it's the same application. It's all governed nicely. It's cool, really cool. So here's a Power BI that is embedded within a um, PowerPoint presentation. This is a live a Power BI. It's not just a screenshot. So if I think if I need to click, my computer is a little bit out of memory, so it takes time. But you can see it's reacting to my clicks, and actually there's a stream of information coming in from kind of locations of satellites that I'm running. I'll show how I've done it in the next video. So this is being updated every few minutes. So the screen gets refreshed. There's loads of control that you can do with regards to embedding Power BI in PowerPoint. There's different ways of doing it. I've chosen the way where you need to sort of activate the license and so forth, which I haven't done. I will get there eventually, but this is just a demo and I was just learning stuff, so I didn't see the point for it. And what I'm going to do in the next segment will be to show you how I create a Python code. So usually most of the demos and discussions around creating a stream that feeds into Fabric says, okay, do it in C. And one of the examples that I've seen that was just published yesterday was, okay, it's a C code and it's run using a Power Automate job. So I said, I really want to figure out how I do this in Python. So I've got Python code that listens to an API, it runs on my laptop, and actively pushes to the event stream in the real-time analytics fabric. And that gets stored in a KQL database. And hands up, this is the first time I came across the KQL database. I'm not an IoT person per se. And then I figured out it's terribly easy. It's unbelievably how easy it is to just say, okay, here's a KQL data table that is being updated regularly. Create for me a Power BI that looks at it. And not only that, but this Power BI, you can also do it. There's now a connector within your Power BI Pro on your desktop that you can talk directly to the KQL. Works really nicely. And then I challenged myself and said, okay, you know what? Can I put the Python bit in the middle so Python will read from the KQL, do something, whatever it is, and expose it to Power BI. So that's where you can bring in, once you get to that point, regression, segmentation, AutoML, so forth, all the good stuff that Python comes with. And obviously this is PySpark. Everything is running in Spark notebooks. Okay, so I'll end the segment here, and the next segment will be showing how I actually did this. Thank you for listening.